Welcome to today's Decentralized TV episode here on Brighteon.com. I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon, and you just saw the set there. We've got microscopes and everything running, but that's not for today. Today, my co-host Todd Pittner joins me to talk about the most powerful decentralization concepts that we have covered and discovered in the 100 plus episodes of this show that we have broadcast. So Todd, welcome to the show today. It's great to be back with you.
Mike, I can't believe it. We're over 100. It's just astonishing to me. And when I look back, I just think how fast it went. And what I love most about the episodes that we've created together and the guests that we've had on, Mike, is that they are everlasting. So when Mike and I talk to you and kind of point back historically to some of the episodes, and please go back and if you haven't watched them all, literally, they don't expire. They are as relevant today as the week after we recorded them. And we're going to talk about that. But man, such rich content that we provided. And for all of you guests that we have had out there, thank you. Thank you. Because without you, this show wouldn't be what it is.
And the website where people can find all the episodes is decentralized.tv. So that's easy for people to remember. All the episodes are there. They're also posted on Rumble and Brighteon. And we have the docuseries that we put together, Todd, called Breaking the Chains. That docuseries is available for purchase if you want to help support us at brighteonuniversity.com. It was broadcast for free at BrightU, but now it's at brighteonuniversity.com for a full paid download, and it's worth every penny. Especially with all the...
It received rave reviews too, Mike.
That's people loved it.
Yeah, people loved it. And man, Mike, this world is going hot.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so decentralization right now, if people aren't aware of it or they aren't considering it, and they aren't strategically taking steps to achieve it, I don't know how we can help them anymore, Mike.
Well, yeah, I mean, the good news is that this show is a storehouse of all this knowledge that people can access at any time, and all the show episodes are free. So let's delve into that, Todd, because we've interviewed top experts in finance, in technology, in food production, experts in disease reversals, and also geopolitics and all kinds of things, and spirituality as well. It's covered everything from that same point of view of decentralizing your life. So what I'd like to do today, Todd, is play a game, and I'll let you go first. So we're just going to play a back and forth game. You name the single most important aha or theme of these 100 plus episodes that we've done. Like what's the number one big takeaway? And then after we discuss that, then I'll follow with suggestion number 2, and then back to you, etc., and see if we can cover a few of these. So what would you say is number 1?
Mike, when I think about what I have learned over the last couple of years from our guests and how I have changed my life personally, I would say it would have to be self-custody.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking about everything that I have, how do I get it out of centralized control? How do I take control of it?
Right.
Whether it's my own finances, whether it's my own food, my own energy, my own health, Mike. Self-custody. And you know what that takes? That takes a little bit of self-awareness and dedicated responsibility. You have to do. You have to act. It's not going to come to you. So it's a mindset. It's a muscle to exercise. What do you think of that, Mike?
Well, I think you're right. That's the most important concept. And, when we first started talking about self-custody, that term really was emphasizing crypto heavily, like have your own crypto wallet. But since then, over the last couple of years, we've had guests talking about the great taking, the bank failures, the bank bail-ins. And it's become more apparent to anybody paying attention that self-custody has to include dollars, currency, in some cases gold and silver, in some cases stocks and bonds. People think that they own stocks, but they don't. What they actually have is a claim with a stockbroker that says that just tells you on your screen you have this much, but they actually owe it to you, but it's held in their name. So if that brokerage account goes down, which can happen in a financial crisis, you become a creditor to the brokerage account because you never had self-custody. And then, Todd, what have we seen over the last few years? ETFs of crypto. So all these people are logging into, I don't know, Fidelity or wherever, and they're buying like crypto IOUs without ever having custody of the crypto. Go ahead. I mean, why is that crazy?
Yeah, it's all they are. I mean, it's basically just hitting Control-Alt-Delete on the financial system that, as we know it, they're just, digitizing it. And they have figured out a way to be able to fool the rest of us to think that you are making an investment in something worthwhile when it is actually worth less. If you are going, I mean, my goodness, Mike, get self-custody, acquire precious metals. If with the financial system, I mean, who knows when these banks, they will fail at some point in time. The dollar will go to zero at some point in time. But in the meantime, at least be smart, because what we have learned is that I call them Druid Babylonian bastards, they can keep you from your money with a flick of a switch. So smart people like us, no matter what we are dealing with, whether it was dollars, precious metals, food, medicine, we are going to figure out a way to seize control over those so that you don't have any overlord that can keep you from your own assets. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's absolutely critical. I completely agree. And self-custody applies to so many things that people didn't even used to realize that it should apply to. For example, you think you own your home, but of course, one lawsuit and you could lose it.
That's right.
Or, you have to pay property tax, which is a form of rent every year. So you really don't own your home. Now, I mean, you've championed a vehicle, the UNA, Unincorporated Nonprofit Association, that allows people to have another type of self-custody of assets like homes. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then I'll go to my point number 2.
Sure.
Go for it.
Sure. Well, look, if you're watching this and you earn W-2 income, you earn 1099 income, if you own property, or if you want to own property, if you trade in crypto, if you operate an LLC, I will tell you that all of those, there is a strategic way to be able to take self-custody of all of those assets, but not your own self-custody. I have an entity called an Unincorporated Nonprofit Association that I've helped now over 200 people over our 200 shows, Mike. Our 100 shows that I have helped acquire their own UNAs. And what it allows you to do, if you earn income, it literally allows you to be able to keep more of what you earn by a lot. If you own a home, you can donate that home to your own UNA that is yours. You control it. You are the steward, the shepherd, the secretary, okay? But Nelson Rockefeller coined the phrase, own nothing, control everything. He was talking about entities like this. I will tell you, Mike, Bill and Melinda Gates and the Rockefellers, they don't have these foundations because they have really good, just pure hearts.
Heartwarming people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're not singing Kumbaya. No, it's because they want to keep more of what they earn. They want to protect their personal assets and they want to protect their personal liability.
Yeah.
And this UNA, I didn't start talking about it way back when, a year and a half ago, Mike, for it to have evolved to have 200 members of our private Telegram group. But it ended up that way because I needed to organize it. But I started talking about it because it was my form of evangelism, because I couldn't think of a better way to talk about financial decentralization, keeping more of what you earn.
And see what people don't quite grasp about this. And let me just plug your website. It's my575e.com if people want to check it out right there. and, my575e.com, there's a Let's Go button and all the benefits. But Todd, what people don't understand is they need to decentralize their own finances.
Right.
So, we talk about decentralizing from, let's say, the CDC's bad medical advice, or decentralizing from your doctor by taking better charge of your own health with good nutrition, et cetera. But then people have all their assets under their own name, and that's centralization.
Oh my gosh.
So you have a common point of liability to everything you own.
You're one lawsuit away of losing everything.
Right. Or, as we've seen with the government of Canada, where they would go after people's assets because they donated $25 to the truckers during the protests years ago.
Right.
We saw that same kind of thing with the J6 protests and how they were targeted in the United States by the banks. Remember this, that
Yes.
there were major banks that handed over bank account information to the FBI to chase people down because people bought airplane tickets on their bank credit cards, and those banks narked on them to the FBI. Okay?
Yes. And,
Right.
and Mike, this entity allows you to, this is key, to disassociate your social security number, from your financial decisions.
Exactly. Because you actually get a different number for the UNA.
Bingo.
And it's not your number, but it's a number that you can use to go open bank accounts.
And it's a charitable organization. So
Right.
it is your own. You know what I have educated people about, because we can name these what we want, Mike, is like my initials are TCP, and probably almost everybody that gets a new UNA has followed my advice. It's like spend the extra $500 for a custom UNA, and just make it your initials, like TCP, and then add the word foundation. Why is that important? It's because everybody on the planet thinks they know what a foundation is, and it just has this built-in virtue signal, whether it's with opening up a bank account or a crypto exchange or a brokerage account, or if you're talking to a realtor about a real estate transaction, being able to speak in the voice of just saying, I'd like to run this through my foundation. That just becomes a strategic way to make this even easier, Mike.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I also love how you have evolved. You and these hundreds of people that you've helped with this, you have a big Telegram group. I should probably check it out. I haven't been part of that group, but I should check it out. But you have evolved because your group has shared what's working with how to talk to banks, how to talk to government, how to talk to donors or whatever. Like, you've evolved this whole system. You've taken it to a new level.
Yeah, it's funny when it started with maybe there was a half dozen of us at the very beginning. What I realized is there were new people that were coming in asking the same questions. So I would start pinning those messages, and when I'd invite them, the 10th person in, I'd say, "Yeah, just binge read the pinned messages." Well, there became hundreds of pinned messages.
Right.
So I hired a guy. His name is Ryan. He is great. And he manages now, it's called a UNA directory, a UNA biz directory.
Really?
And now when people come in, it literally is like a digital book, to where if you are interested in donating property, you go to the donating property chapter, and then you're able to access all of the pinned messages, because what's cool is it's 1 + 1 = 11 math in there, Mike. And what I mean by that is that we are all supporting each other, right? So when a new opportunity comes along, to where a retired couple, this happened out of Colorado Springs, they retired and they wanted to sell their house and not be able to deal with these exorbitant capital gains. Well, we war gamed and helped them figure out how to be able to do that, to where they didn't pay capital gains taxes because they lawfully didn't have to, because they donated it to their UNA.
Yeah.
So that is in there, that whole wargaming process. That's what's cool, because there's so many people in there way smarter than me, Mike, just as a result of the people who follow you and this show, just a lot of smart people in there. But yeah, that it has evolved to where now it is just a place to where I don't even necessarily have to answer questions anymore. because so many smart people who have such rich experience, when new people come in, there's such wonderful support in there. They take the reins. And that's what's coolest, Mike. And I sent you a few screenshots because I did ask them recently to rate the support that they've received. And I shared some of those with you.
I saw some of those. I did. Yeah. People are thrilled. That's really cool. Okay. Let me continue with the second point.
Number 2.
In all of this. So number 1 is the importance of self-custody.
Yes, sir.
Completely agree. And I just want to remind people, practice that when it comes to crypto, gold and silver, dollars to the extent that you can. You can take cash out of the bank. I mean, at the moment, they'll let you take a little bit out. You should have some cash, etc. Right? Okay, the big aha for me, the second big one is that how much we've learned to never trust official sources.
Oh.
So almost every time the federal government tells you something, there's an agenda that contradicts your own self-interest.
Sure.
In literally every case, it seems. So like medicine and COVID, the lockdowns, all that. Now, granted, we started this show, a couple years after COVID really peaked. But even since then, what have we learned? That, the jabs are harming still more people ever since. And that even when it has been revealed because of the new administration and RFK Jr. as head of HHS, admitting that there's no evidence backing any of these COVID vaccines at all, even when they admit that, they still tell you should take them. I mean, the FDA does, not RFK, but the FDA or the CDC, they say you should take them. So you are being lied to constantly by banking regulators, by the Federal Reserve, by the Treasury, the CDC, the FDA, the FBI, the DOJ, the ATF. Hey, remember, we're supposed to see the Epstein files by now, Todd. Where are the Epstein files?
Mike, good question.
Yeah, right. They buried them wherever they hid Epstein himself because he didn't kill himself. But so that's my second point, Todd. What's your reaction to that? Where I say, decentralize your information sources. Never trust official sources.
Yeah, I think that if you really want to get current events right, and you really want to get history right, then, I don't like going to mainstream television, but I'm just saying if you could stomach it, you could literally go with your notepad and consume everything that they're telling you as truth and gospel, and it's opposite day, right? And you just write down the opposite. I'm serious. I am dead serious. I think that is a way that you can have your highest faith beacon of truth out there is what they are telling you is always a lie, I think.
I think that's a very good default position.
Yes.
And if you find out occasionally, on rare occasions, that they're actually telling the truth, great, make that the exception. But by default, you should assume they're lying.
Yeah, and they are.
Yeah.
And they are.
Well, just the other day, so there's a family, it's actually one of our partners that's they manufacture products in America. And ethnically, the family is Latino. And the founder was telling me that his grandmother remembers living in Mexico during a currency collapse. And, there have been currency collapses in Argentina, and Venezuela, and obviously Mexico, and one coming soon in America too. And there's been other currency collapses in American history, like, during the Civil War, for example. So he said that his grandmother remembered that right up until the day the government defaulted on the currency, the government was telling everybody, everything's fine. Don't worry, your money is safe, the currency's safe, you're going to be fine. Well, of course. Why would they tell people the truth that when you wake up tomorrow, you're going to lose 97% of the power to purchase? They're never going to tell you that. I mean, no. Even if NASA has a telescope pointed to the sky and there's a giant fireball coming to collide with Earth that would destroy a city, you think they're going to tell you? Of course not.
Not if aid can make money out of it.
Nah, they're not going to tell you at all. They're going to say everything's fine.
Everything's fine, right?
So, what are your thoughts about how the institutions they can't help themselves but lie to us all the time?
Well, I'm sitting here just over the last half year since Trump has gotten elected. So I was rewinding. I was thinking about the first days of Trump, and Elon and uncovering all of the corruption at USAID, and Mike, what happened to all of that? It's like we just slipped right back into the land of. I don't know what's going on because now I don't trust anything. I think they substituted Trump with a lookalike, a clone. Because it just seems so. Everything that they're talking about just seems like nothing has changed. Nothing is new. Nothing new under the sun. And so yeah, I'm right there with you. Even if there is a regime change, nothing's going to change. I think that it is the corruption is so deep. So we just have to think about, but we have to be selfish and think about ourselves.
So it's really interesting because Trump's candidacy and election was based on the people demanding decentralization in the government, really. And that was the support for RFK Jr. and also Dan Bongino and Kash Patel at FBI. And, even Tulsi Gabbard. It was about peace. It was about preventing war, right? Yeah. And then somehow over the last, 130 days or whatever it's been, it all got re-centralized. And it all turned into basically the Bush administration.
Right.
It's like, what? How did this happen?
You're exactly right, Mike.
Yeah. It's like Bush is back,
And Netanyahu, who is the tail wagging the dog.
And I think he is the centralized control over the administration right now. So this just, reaffirms the importance of decentralizing from the system.
Yeah.
So just to back to what you said about Elon, he was saying, hey, we had such success with USAID, we're going to audit the Pentagon.
Right.
And we're going to audit the gold reserves of the Federal Reserve, right? And then, that was a bridge too far to say we're going to audit the Pentagon because the Pentagon is the multi-trillion-dollar slush fund vortex where money goes to vanish or to get diverted into people's pockets, of course. Apparently, you can't audit the Pentagon. Anybody who tries to audit the Pentagon gets a missile fired right into their office at the Pentagon on 9/11, right? Think about that. Those were very specific records that just happened to be blown up. I don't think the system can ever be decentralized until it collapses. And then you almost will have radical chaos decentralization, which has its own challenges, right?
Yeah, but we can have a head start, Mike. That's kind of the purpose of this show. It's not if that's going to happen, it's when. At some point in time, it is what's going to hit the fan, and it's going to hit it really hard. And so for those people who are smart, now if I could just share a third takeaway, Mike, for me, and this has really become crystal clear, and I've talked about this on the show before, but I have evolved to have a very dim view of humanity at large. And I believe, and I think I'm right, that 98% of the people out there do not have the ability to critically think. 2% of us do. And I will tell you, if you are watching this decentralized episode right now, you are definitely a 2%er. And I mean that. I believe, and I talk about this a lot in our private Telegram group, for the rest of my life, Mike, I love the 98%ers out there. They're my family. They're my neighbors. They're my colleagues. But the rest of my life, I want to just go out and find the 2% like me. 2% dedicated to decentralized lifestyles and thinking a few steps ahead. Remember when I was talking about critical thought? To be able to play chess, you have to be able to critically think a few steps ahead. And that's all we're talking about, Mike, with the show, is giving people, some breadcrumbs on where they could go. I mean, my goodness gracious, Jim Gale gave me the best gift in the world when it was his time with us on that first interview.
The food forest.
And after that, then I invested in a food forest because it hit me. I'm like, this is right. Now I'm almost 2 years into my food forest, Mike.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. Not just food for my body, but food for my soul. And it told me that I could do it. You know what I mean? I made a conscious choice to trade my crappy melting green cash for productive trees and a permaculture ecosystem that is going to be giving to me, unto me and my family for generations to come, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. You took currency and you put it into something that's a real asset, which is self-renewing food systems, a food forest system. And by the way, I want to share this photo with the audience. You won't be able to see it, Todd, but I'll ask my producer to put it in. Here's a photo. I finally captured a daytime photo of the wild hog that's been living on my ranch and raiding my chicken feed and goat feed. Here's the photo. As you can see, Texas is very green right now. And this wild hog is huge, and it's mostly pink with black splotches in there. You can see its ears popped up. It's looking at me. And after I took this photo, I said, "Hi, piggy," and he goes, and then he runs away because they're very shy. They don't attack or anything.
How big are they? I mean, how many pounds would you say that big boy is?
250 pounds, or at least 200 pounds.
Okay.
Easy 200. But the thing is, Todd, this pig is an expert in wild foods.
Right. So very smart.
When he doesn't get to raid my chicken feed, he's eating wild onions, and we now have muscadine grapes falling, and he's eating muscadine grapes, and also wild hogs. They'll eat lots of other things from, like, heck, in a pinch, they'll eat like baby birds and things like that they find, but they'll root up all kinds of things. And I was joking in a post about this. I said, this hog knows more about wild foods than most humans, other than Daniel Vitalis, who we've had as a guest on the show. So, like, if we had a competition of Daniel versus the hog, like, which one knows the most wild foods? It would be a very close competition.
I can answer. Daniel has the rifle. I know who's going to win.
Well, Daniel would probably shoot the hog and then say +1
exactly.
But nevertheless, my point is that animals have naturally decentralized food systems that, like, you and I have to go to an extra step to build a decentralized system, because we're so programmed to just go to the grocery store, buy your food in a building, which is, you realize how alien that is for the whole history of humanity? Like, when I lived in Ecuador, we never bought food indoors. That was retarded. All the food markets were outdoor markets. And that's the way it is in most of the world. Almost everybody throughout human history has bought food outdoors.
That's interesting. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. But that's the thing. We get like in a routine of, air conditioning, grocery stores with freezer sections. And that's not the way most of history has gone, actually.
Yeah, no. Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When I think about centralized food, okay, I don't shop at Costco because I have a 3-count lawsuit against them because they fired me as a customer when I wouldn't wear a mask during COVID. But I do. BJ's Wholesale allowed me to go in. Now, BJ's is where I go to get my grapes and my food for my favorite little critters out back, the raccoons. And I was going through there the other day thinking about our show, actually. And I'm walking through there, and I got to tell you, Mike, other than what I buy for those raccoons, I don't buy anything. There isn't anything in there that I can, in my mind, think that is good for my body, right? Because how they cut corners to be able to give you more value, right? So there's not quality control. It's not organic, and their meats and everything. I don't even trust those meats because they are full of, vaccines and hormones and everything.
Yeah, who knows?
But am I right, Mike? I mean, because to me, that was just kind of a poster child of centralized food, and how many people I walked through there and I saw their grocery carts just chock full of all kinds of crap. So,
Well, centralized food has led us to our modern era of mass chronic degenerative disease.
yes.
And I'm always horrified. The few times that I go into a grocery store to shop, I'm horrified to see other people's baskets.
Right.
And here in Texas, the typical thing that I see, and I don't mean anything racial by this, is like a really obese Latina mom with 3 Latino children.
Latino children.
And a shopping cart filled with garbage, soda, sugary cereals. Yeah.
Yes.
Just the worst garbage imaginable. And then she's on food stamps. So the taxpayers are subsidizing that family's degenerative disease. And it's wrong. It's immoral to trap a family in that system where you're subsidizing processed junk food. It's completely immoral. But people are destroying themselves because they trust the central systems.
Yeah, it's the same with accessible fast food, Mike. All of that is garbage. So yeah, let's then talk about how does somebody just in our own diet, presuming, even when you install a food forest, Mike, it's not like you go out there like once a week, you're able to harvest it. I still probably have another year or two before I get into that zone to where I have so much fruit being produced and vegetables being produced that it's just prolific. It takes a while to get there. But as an alternative to that, how do we, and you are the health ranger, how do we strategically go about trying to detangle ourselves from centralized food sources, Mike?
Well, I say, start small, keep it simple at first. You could start with sprouting or windowsill herbs in your kitchen, like cilantro and things like that are just super easy to grow. And for example, growing basil, right? Basil is super easy to grow. And it's loaded with powerful medicinal molecules. So you can start with easy things, like also, instead of trying a lemon tree or an orange tree, grow a kumquat tree.
Right.
I mean, they're prolific, they're easier to manage, they're easier to pick, they've got a lot more fruit in 1 year. Or figs, you were going to say?
No, you're so true. Like my loquat tree was my most productive tree, is my most productive tree.
Yeah.
So I planted 2 more this year, just because I'm like, wow, that's the gift that keeps on giving. So You're absolutely right. I think I've gotten 2 oranges off of my 1 orange tree that I planted, not really impressive, but so you're right. It's like being smart about them.
Well, right. And the smaller fruits are usually easier to get started, like even goji berries, for example.
Yeah, right.
So start small to where you're getting food this year. You can start to get food in a few months, or if you have the space and the water, grow, melons. You can get a lot of food in 120 days or whatever it takes. But then you can get into the longer term orchard planting. Right. Which is a multi-year plan, or nut trees, which is typically even longer, or avocado trees if you're in the right climate. Todd, it's funny. When I was on the big island of Hawaii a few years ago, I was visiting a macadamia nut farm, and I learned that there was another nut farm that destroyed the entire orchard of mac nut trees because they sprayed glyphosate around the trees to keep the weeds down. They killed all the macadamia nut trees that had been there for 30 years or whatever. And you have to start over. So there's a case of mass poisoning where you're killing the abundance, you know? So just be cautious, folks, with everything that you do. As you're decentralizing, make sure you're not setting fire to your, the thing you just built.
Right.
Honor it. Be safe about it.
Yeah, what's ticking me off right now is I do have my food forest butted up to my, lawn, right?
Yeah.
I just fence between it, and they always maintain their separation. It's been beautiful. But now my grass is encroaching into the food forest, and it's really like starting to be a cancer. And I'm literally, in my mind, I look at it as a cancer, and I'm dedicated this weekend to getting out there and becoming a surgeon. But it's just crazy how it can take over. But so far, the permaculture-ness of the food forest has held true to where I haven't had that issue, and it really has astonished me. So that's a little breach that I got to fix, Mike. But that's the other part of it. It just becomes food for the soul because there's always something, right? Like with you on your ranch, my goodness, I couldn't imagine the always something challenge, right?
Well, and I have so much abundance now in terms of loblolly pine trees. So the pine trees, you can harvest the pine needles and you can make pine needle tea, which has shikimic acid in it that has been used to stop pandemics all the way back to ancient China thousands of years ago. And I was shocked how quickly these pine trees would produce new branches with needles. And every needle has medicine in it. We put it under the microscope here in the lab. And they're also rich in vitamin C. So, talk about decentralization. Wow. Even though my store sells non-GMO vitamin C, healthrangerstore.com, and we don't buy the cheap vitamin C from China, which is why we weren't impacted by the tariffs on China. But you can also grow your own vitamin C by growing loblolly or other pine varieties that grow vitamin C together with shikimic acid. And I never need to go to a store and buy vitamin C. I never need to buy Tamiflu, the prescription drug by Roche, because the way Roche makes it is by harvesting pine needles. And then they get the shikimic acid out and they concentrate it and put it in a pill. And then you need a prescription. You need the permission from the doctor, permission from the pharmacist, permission from your government, permission from the FDA. Yeah, screw all that. I'm growing pine trees. I cut off a little piece there. I make pine needle tea. I don't need anybody's permission. That's decentralization, right?
Yes. By the way, I got in the mail, I went on a binge and I ordered a bunch of product from you recently.
Oh, yeah?
So I got something, it was pine needle spray.
Okay, yeah.
So tell me about that, just because I'm curious. I bought it just because I thought, I've heard Mike talk about pine needles, so I thought, oh, they're sprayed. So do I squirt that in my nose a couple of times a day? What's the protocol?
Well, I'm not allowed to tell you what you can do with it according to United States regulators. You'll have to figure that part out. But it is a spray from pine needles that my wife and I harvested.
Wow, that's from that you guys harvest?
Yes, all the spray that we make is from pine needles that my wife and I harvest ourselves.
And you know what? Incidentally, it actually, I thought, we've all had the stuff you spray in your nose. It actually smells good.
It smells good. Yeah, totally.
It's really, really good product. I know it's, you can't say anything, but I'm telling you, I have it set right between there. I come up the stairs and it's always right there on a little table. And I give it a couple of shots in each nostril in the morning and then in the evening. So, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I do that too. Show my screen, guys. The product known as Pine Sol. Okay. This used to be made from what comes out of pine trees.
Okay.
Right. I mean, that kind of makes sense about the name.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know what year it was, but if you go back decades, it's real pine salt. Today, it's not. Today, it's just whatever chemicals they can put together and put in the pine fragrance and call it a cleaning solution.
Gee.
But did you know that the actual pine salt original product was so good and so effective, people didn't have to use very much at all. And so it wasn't actually very profitable because a family might only buy one bottle every 5 years or something.
Wow.
And you actually had to get it from trees. So, like a lot of foods, but also a lot of cleaning products and so on, they used to come from nature. Now they're all synthetic and not nearly as good as they used to be. So we are living in a shadow world of what we used to have. Like our grandparents actually had healthier food, cleaner food, better soap, better products than we do. We're actually living in a time of extreme poverty because everything that we buy is worthless. Think about it.
See, when I go into BJ's Wholesale, I'm not calling them out, any big box store, right? And I see even the soaps and the shampoo. You've had such an impact on me, Mike, to where it's like I think through now everything I put on my body. I was thinking, what a perfect delivery system the Druid Babylonian bastards could have if they just, wanted to put the mRNA whatever on underarm deodorant.
Right.
And you didn't even know any better, right? Or that's what scares the crap out of me.
Here's a great example. You've seen on laundry detergents, you've seen the claim that it contains like whiteners, right? You've seen that before, or it gets whites whiter or whatever. Do you know what chemical that they use to do that? They use a chemical that's toxic that selectively absorbs yellow wavelengths of light to shift the reflected light more into the blue spectrum, which makes you think it looks whiter.
No way.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with laundry being cleaner. Wow. It's a chemical that absorbs yellow wavelengths of light.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so that's how you get whiteners in your laundry detergent.
That is nuts.
Yep.
It's an upside down world, Mike.
Man, it's insane. It's insane. What you need is better soap, and then your laundry is cleaner.
Okay.
You know, right. But, oh no, that's too expensive. We can't have real soap, Everything's a fakery now.
Okay, so Mike, coach me here, because I have pine trees in my back property where the raccoons are.
Yeah.
If I just go back there and I find the pine, coach me. What should if I want to go boil some vitamin C, what do I do?
All right. Well, first of all, identify the species, right?
Okay.
And you don't want, spruce trees or whatever. You want it to be pine, and a species of pine that naturally has shikimic acid in it.
Okay.
So just identify the species, and then all you do is you snip off a piece that's even 6 inches long, that's got some pine needles on it. And to be respectful to the tree, never take the very tip of a branch.
Never take,
because you want that branch to be able to continue to grow out. So you go in a few feet, you clip off something on sort of the inner sub branches.
Okay, so it can be, so when you were saying don't do the end, I'm thinking, well, there's
of like a main branch.
A main branch.
Yeah, sorry, I should have added, but like a main branch that's moving outward. You don't want to hobble the tree. So clip an inner sub branch that's not as important.
Yeah.
Take about a 6-inch piece, rinse it in water briefly.
Yep.
And then, put it in an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner.
Okay.
With water. And if you want, you can add a little bit of grain alcohol or vodka. It actually helps the extraction. But if you just want water, that's fine too. Or you could just put it in a pot on the stove and just boil the water.
Okay.
And just make tea with a standard decoction. Or you could use an ultrasonic cleaner to get a more efficient extraction using solvents like alcohol.
Okay.
So then you've either got your hot tea, you can add a little bit of palm sugar to sweeten it up, or a little bit of honey. And it's delicious. I drink it just straight. I find it to be delicious.
Okay.
Just like that.
Wow.
And you're drinking vitamin C.
Well, you know me. This is gonna be a project, man. I'm gonna go do it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, good. That's awesome.
Because I was just thinking, follow our own advice, right? I have pine trees out back. Let me go figure out how to harvest and, nurture my body with what's right in my backyard.
Absolutely. And so a lot of this about decentralization, we have to change our mindset. We currently think, most Americans think, that to get medicine, you have to go to a pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
And permission of the doctor, everything like I said before. That's nonsense. Medicine's all around you. And I believe it's a God-given right. You should not need anybody's permission to access Mother Nature's medicine.
Right.
And what a coincidence that God put all these molecules into the plants that grow all around us effortlessly, and they are all medicinal. So, you want to decentralize. Sometimes all you have to do is go out your back door or your front door, like dandelions, which HOAs hate dandelions, right? You can get a fine at your HOA if you have too many dandelions growing in your front lawn, right?
Right.
They'll fine you.
Yes.
Well, dandelions are medicine. Dandelion roots are medicine. Dandelion leaves are medicine, really good for the liver, for detoxification support. And dandelion flowers are also food. It's a natural food. You can cut them off and roll them in flour and make a pan-fried dandelion fritters.
Wow.
But what do most people do? They go to the hardware store. They buy toxic, cancer-causing herbicide chemicals like 2,4-D, and then they run around their yard spraying and killing the medicine while they're poisoning themselves with cancer.
That's amazing.
Like, that is an insane level of species stupidity.
Can I talk species stupidity?
Yeah,
Mike?
please.
I went for a walk. I'm into this thing to where I'm 10,000 steps a day. And I'm just dedicated to that, and I've just enjoyed it. And I'm walking in our neighborhood here in Florida. We have all of these ponds, right?
Yeah.
That are ponds only because the builders needed to be able to build up the property. So, they're man-made ponds. And all of the grass around all of the ponds are treated by these people with these big trucks and poison, right?
Yep.
Then I walk around and I look at these people who are just, they're out there with their fishing pole and they're pulling the fish. And I mean, my gosh, how poisonous are those fish, Mike? Because think about that. All of the poisons from greening the grass go into that water supply, into the fish. I mean, I'm surprised people aren't walking around with 6 heads.
Well, they are walking around with sick heads, that's for sure, and they've been largely lobotomized. But look, this whole concept that we have to have these artificial lawns, this is actually unsustainable, and it's toxic, right? So on my ranch, for example, I don't have a lawn.
Yep.
What I have is just areas where things grow.
Right.
Areas where things grow. And I'll tell you this, when I first moved to my ranch, it had been used for cattle operations, and it had been largely clear cut. And the way Texas ranchers believe is 1 acre, 1 tree. That's the rule.
Wow.
So when they clear land, they only leave 1 tree per acre. Think about that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's bonkers. And it just destroys the soil long term. It kills the microbes in the soil because of the sunlight, everything. So, because it's so hot and dry. More trees actually preserve moisture, as you know from your food forest, right? It preserves moisture in the system. Well, since I have never treated my ranch with herbicides or pesticides or clear cutting or anything like that, it has grown up these massive wild foods briars.
That's great.
And some of them are like 15 feet tall.
No kidding.
Oh. And then at the bottom of every briar or little forest patch or whatever, and some of these briars produce vitamin C. They have their own like rosehip nodules once a year that are just loaded with vitamin C.
Okay.
At the bottom of each one of these are like little tunnels that are about this high, just little entry tunnels and small little pathways. Well, guess what? Those are the tunnels that the rabbits and the armadillos have built so that they can go out and forage at night and then take shelter in the briars that the coyotes can't get in.
Mm.
So
Nice.
now I've created habitat for rabbits like crazy. And the other night I had to drive out on my ranch with my ranch vehicle at night, like midnight. I was relocating a snake, and I saw just rabbits galore, just darting left and rabbits everywhere.
Wow.
Which didn't exist, when I first moved to the ranch. So now then, if we have a food collapse or something, and if I needed to eat rabbits, which I don't, but if I had to, I've created abundance of that food supply as well. Like there's so many rabbits, I could have a rabbit a day and not make a dent in the population.
Amazing.
Because,
and it all resulted because you did nothing. Meaning,
because I did nothing. That's right. I stopped poisoning the land. And where you live in Florida, if they were to just stop poisoning the land,
right,
it would be so much more abundant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. There's a phrase that somebody just reminded me. There's a phrase that the guy told me a long time ago that, when you're in a decision-making mode, he said, sometimes, Todd, it's urgent to do nothing. And I just love it. I always carry that with me.
That's a great saying. Yeah.
I have given that, like I have 4 daughters and, they go through their drama going through high school and everything. And I've used that a lot. It's urgent to do nothing, honey.
Wow, that's great. So anyway, okay, we're almost on an hour here. We've only covered 2 points. Let me kick it back to you. Do you have a third point in mind, a third big aha?
My third point was the awareness of the 98% of the population don't have the ability to critically think.
Okay.
And I guess the other thing, and we should probably be thinking about just kind of wrapping this up. I wish we could have it for 2 or 3 hours, but in the spirit of wrapping it up, I would say that the most important thing to do is don't just consume this content, but apply it. Challenge yourself to do, to just go out there and implement some of these strategies. Start small, start slow. Like with the UNAs, Mike, there's people, they hear about, wow, they kind of get overwhelmed saying, well, if I'm going to decentralize all of my assets, I need a UNA for my home. I need a UNA for my crypto. I need a UNA, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. Just start with one. Start with one and then get in there and learn. And then the rest will come to you. Life is long. And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? But just start your first one. Start with the food forest. And the one thing I want to encourage everybody to consider is think about your own children, your own family, your own loved ones, and think about if you have the means of maybe gifting them a food forest. That's what I did with my daughter recently.
That's what you did.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, it has enhanced my relationship with Abby tremendously. She's so excited about it. I'm getting updates, text updates, and video updates of her telling me what's happening in her food forest. And it was so cool. And I organized everything through, foodforestabundance.com and Cam, he's the guy that my go-to. And that's just something special. If you have the means and you have children, just give that some consideration. It'll make you feel really, really good to do that. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's a great point. Okay. Really well stated. I'm so glad you did that. And you share with me some pictures from your daughter and how excited she is to have the food forest. It's really amazing. Let me bring in point number 4, and let's just cover this before we wrap up the show.
Perfect.
A big aha realization that just got driven home again and again for me over these last couple of years is that when you decentralize for one reason, such as, hey, I want privacy, I want to be left alone, I want to be in control of my life, let's say, you benefit from all the other things that come with it. And right now, we are on the verge of World War III. So, you and I, we're filming this in June 2025. missiles and rockets being fired all over the Middle East, and everybody's talking tough. We're going to bomb and nuke you and destroy you and this and that. Okay, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. Energy prices are going to go through the roof if that happens, right? Fuel, LNG, you name it. Food prices are going to skyrocket, et cetera. My point is, if you've been living a more decentralized life, it's going to cover you through World War III.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So your food forest, I mean, does your, do you have a papaya tree, or what's your main fruit tree there?
A papaya, a mango, a loquat, a peach tree. Peaches
Awesome.
have been prolific. The mulberries, the strawberry trees, avocado trees. I have so many different species, and they all come at different times. That's the other thing that's kind of cool. Banana trees. My God, I have so many banana trees.
Oh, I love that. Man, I'm jealous. It's colder here in Texas. We can't grow all those things that you mentioned. But let's just take your papaya tree. Does your papaya tree care if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz?
They will consult the mangoes, but they arrive at the decision that they don't give a spit, Mike.
Right. So your food comes to you regardless of what happens in the Middle East.
That's right.
Regardless of who wins or who loses or who bombs or who signs a surrender deal or whatever, Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, doesn't matter, because you have self-custody, that same concept, of your food forest. And folks, if you really want to disconnect from the control grid, you need to disconnect your food from the price of oil.
Oh, that's beautiful, Mike.
That's a key concept. Disconnect your food from the price of oil. And that's hard because all the grains, the rice, the corn, the wheat, all of that is grown with machines, or planted and harvested with machines for the most part. And all those machines run on oil. So those prices, and then the transportation and the processing, et cetera. But if you grow it locally and you eat locally and you support local food, now you are increasingly dissociating food from the price of oil. That's true food freedom.
That is magnificent, Mike. Well articulated. Yeah, no, thank you. It's so true. I mean, it's so simple, right? It's like, I have this the sugar cane in my food forest. It just is so massive, right? But I'm like, have you ever tried to peel sugar cane and process it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not easy.
Yeah. No, when I was in Ecuador, we used to drink sugar cane juice.
Yeah.
You have to have a big ass machine to juice it.
I invested in a big ass machine.
Did you?
It just came. It's so heavy. I haven't been able to carry it.
That's awesome.
I can set it up. But yeah, you don't process sugar cane without a big ass machine, but I have one now.
Oh man,
but
I'm jealous.
Can't wait, because now I have all of this sugar cane that has just been so prolific that I haven't known what to do with.
Wow.
But I don't know why it doesn't have anything to do with oil. It's just, it made me think about the fact that you do have to have the right tools in place.
True.
But because I acted 2 years ago and invested in a food forest, over the 2 years, solutions start to come. So just get started. They say, Mike, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today.
That's right. I love that saying. And I love the fact you're going to be juicing sugarcane. People don't realize in America mostly that it's a green juice.
Right. Yes.
And the taste, it's like heaven. I mean,
I can't wait.
The pure cane sugar is like nothing else on this planet. And one reason it's so amazing is because you almost never get that anymore in food or sodas or anything. It's all been replaced with garbage.
Do you just machete it near the bottom and then it just growing? So it's the gift that keeps on giving?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's a grass. And
yeah, it's like a grass.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, you machete it, and then, you machete it into pieces that you can feed into the juicer.
Yep.
And it just keeps growing.
Yeah, it produces pups like bananas do.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about bananas, man. I started with 4. Now I have 30.
Yeah,
30.
you gotta decide which ones to keep.
Yeah.
Ken, you don't want them to crowd each other out either, right? You want to give one plant.
That's exactly right. And you know what? I'm not that smart there yet, and that's part of the process, right? That's my next step in my own food forest evolutionary whatever is I need to assess and discern, okay, how do I replant those? Take a plant away and give it to my neighbor. That's the other thing that I'm definitely doing. I've already talked to my neighbors and said, "Are you interested?" Because I know I have to do that. That's good, Mike.
That's true. Yeah.
And so it's a great way to be able to propagate and get a food forest throughout your whole neighborhood. That all started with you.
True. And then your whole neighborhood is more resilient when there's an engineered famine.
Yeah. Yep.
So I love the fact that I think the timing of the themes of our shows are really perfect. That much of society is very much interested in decentralization, and it's becoming a necessity, understanding the common points of failure in centralized systems. Yes. Did you know, for example, the other day, the Whole Foods company, Whole Foods Market, they had a massive computer glitch that destroyed their inventory logistics system for a few days.
Wow.
And in California, some of the shelves just went empty across their stores.
Goodness.
It was a cyber event.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a cyber, I think it was a hack.
Attack?
I think it was an attack. I think that's what they said. So wow. I'm just thinking about that, whereas like when I lived in South America and I would just walk to the food market, there was no cyber attack possibility of taking down the local growers who, you know, it's a woman with a table and a cloth of the stuff that she grew. And she picked it like that morning, you know.
Oh, how amazing.
There's no cyber attack event that's going to stop that. But because of our centralized system, we can have these single points of failure that take down finance, banking, food, distribution, refineries, you know, transportation, everything.
Now, when you were paying at that food market, did you pay with the chip in your forehead or your hand?
No. No, and you know, food was quite affordable in that situation, even meats. So, and it was all open air market. You know, like none of it would pass like U.S. safety inspector standards especially for the meats. But you go around the world, you go, you know, anywhere, Central South America, Middle East, you know, Eastern Europe, Asia, all throughout Southeast Asia. The streets of Taiwan, you go any of these places, they've just got like meats just hanging there, like processed meats hanging on a hook. It's like, here's a duck, you know? It's a dried duck.
Wow. Sounds delicious.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was pretty freaky. I've been to some freaky animal markets in Asia, especially, but whatever. Look, okay, we'll wrap this up for today. Let me just plug our sites again. My575E is your site for the UNA.
My575E.com.
Right.
And I encourage people, there's a 90-minute free video for you to go watch, and then a 32, an interactive PDF to where there are 32 positive attributes of operating a UNA. And that's free information for you to be able to consider whether it may be good for you. And the last thing I'll say on it is, please, if you have any questions, I do offer consultations on there for $150 I book it for a half hour on your time, but on my time, it's always for an hour. So I answer all of your questions. But if you invest in that, you end up getting it back if you move forward with a UNA. So it is a really good investment because most people, Mike, who actually consult with me end up moving forward with one. And it's just a way for you to have your own peace of mind. Because, you know, look, it's a big step to kind of exercise a different muscle on taking control of your own financial security.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Okay, perfect. So that's my575e.com. I want to give credit to our sponsor, the Satellite Phone Store, SAT123.com, which gives you solutions for decentralized communications, obviously, very critical. And the satellite phones work everywhere in the world as long as you can see the sky. So, for example, did you know right now the U.S. State Department is organizing cruise ships for emergency evacuations of Americans who are trying to flee Israel?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Huckabee, the ambassador, announced that. So they're actually like chartering cruise ships because no one's allowed to fly out of the country right now. And as you know, a lot of times in those conflicts, cell towers go down, sometimes because governments take them down. So you need to be able to pull out of your pocket, hey, satellite phone, man. So it's like I'm on an escape cruise ship in the middle of the Mediterranean. You know, what do? You whip out the phone, you point it at the sky, dial, ET phone home, man. I mean, that's all you got to do.
Wow.
So I don't want to be at the mercy of the cruise ship and its rules controlled by the State Department or whoever, or Israel's government or what. No, heck no.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so that's sat123.com. And then my website, healthrangerstore.com, is where you can find all of our nutritional products, heavily tested, mass spec testing, personal care. We've got all these different supplements, preparedness, food and beverage, home care, non-toxic, without all the toxic fragrance chemicals and all those crazy whiteners in the laundry detergent. We've got ultra clean products, healthrangerstore.com.
And that's where, after we wrapped up our docuseries, Mike, you had talked so much about some of the different, not just the products that you're selling, but just in general, things that, I can refocus on my own health and reconsider what I have in my bathroom and my kitchen and such. And so I just went on a binge and I loved it.
That's awesome.
That's why I got stuff that I didn't even realize I ordered, like the nasal spray.
Well, that's because that was actually a free gift during one of our specials.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even think we sell it. I think we only offer it as a gift from time to time.
Oh, that makes sense. Because I didn't remember ordering it.
It's because, again, my wife and I harvest all the pine needles, and so there's a very small supply of that stuff.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I really loved it.
That's awesome. Well, anyway, look, to our audience, thank you for all your support. And seriously, go back and check the 100 plus other episodes that are on decentralized.tv and watch them anytime. They're evergreen. You'll learn something every single time, and then apply it, like Todd says, apply it and really work to decentralize your life. I think war is coming. I mean, it's clear war is coming. We're in war. But the supply chains are going to get just slaughtered in this process. So, you're going to be forced to become more decentralized. You might as well get ahead of the curve. Right, Todd?
Yeah, they can just send us a thank you card once a year.
Really? A thank you card once a year?
That we nudge them towards decentralization.
Oh, okay.
When it hits a fan and they're fine. Think of us, send us a thank you card, just a stamp and a thank you.
Okay, that sounds great. And speaking of thank all of you for watching and for sharing these episodes. I'm Mike Adams with Todd Pittner. Thank you for watching today. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.
With so much uncertainty in the world, the food supply chain is getting hit hard. Food's going to become a lot more expensive as energy prices go up because of, attacks on oil fields and the Strait of Hormuz and all of that's going on. So we want to help you get prepared because I think we're entering an era of really something that escalates into World War III. And so we now have started labeling our food buckets. We have them labeled by the number of days that they cover. And during this current sale, which is happening here, June 24th through the 27th, if you mix and match, choose any 6 items from this list, you'll save an additional 8% off the prices here. We've got different varieties of mini buckets. We've got the 28-day food supply. That's 28 days for one person. It's a mega bucket kit of, in this case, organic, gluten-free, different varieties available. You can click on that for more. Or you can get a legumes lovers pack here. You can get longevity grains. You can get super seeds. These are special packs. You can click on any of those. Or, here we have our organic blueberry vanilla pancake mix. Here's our wheat-free macaroni and cheese with no added salt, etc. Here's our Ranger bucket set. All of these are available now, and you can clearly see how many days they cover, and that's calculated at 2250 calories per day. That's 2,250 per day for one person. So mix and match those, and you'll save an additional 8%. That's June 24th through the 27th. That's available now. We can help you get this food. We have it in stock. It's ready to ship from Central Texas. Right now, we can get it into your hands over the next few days. Take advantage of this sale price. Again, mix and match any 6 from this page. And yeah, here's some on my desk too to show you what they look like in person. Mix and match any of these to save an additional 8%. And I can assure you, this food will never be this price again because of, the devaluation of the dollar, the supply chain disruptions, the increasing cost of energy and transportation, et cetera. So take advantage of this now, and thank you for your support.